Brandon Davis, Comicbook.com. Andy, Tom, absolute pleasure to speak with you both. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Of course. Listen, I want to start with a technical question because I find it so interesting that Tom does the recordings of Venom's voice to have the interactions. Now, when you have Carnage and Venom interacting on set, does anybody else get to hear them? How do you guys pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, it was imperative that we could have both, so we knew the timings, that we knew how to frame, we knew all the other actors had cues to work off. So with both, Tom was recording Venom and then Woody did Carnage. So that we had the real voices there to bounce off. That's really cool. I bet that made it really immersive on set. Tom, you have an awesome stuntman in Jacob Tamori. And I also noticed that Venom has a stuntman in Adam Basil, and I'd love to hear what kind of do Jacob and Adam ever share the set? Like, what does Venom stuntman have to get into?
I can handle Jakey.
Go for it.
I can handle Jakey.
Yeah, you handle
Jakey. Literally to the left. He's not just a stunt man. I mean, which he is, and well on the way to coordinating, and he's a serious lad. But he's also a great mimic, and I've worked with him now since Fury Road on multiple projects. I've dropped him in at the deep end and made him act in the Cray Twins with the Legend Brothers, the Legend film. And he's stepped up to the plate as an actor as well as having to do, plant his face into whatever heavy object he's got to do, and so he literally does anything that's going to possibly cause death or harm, right? At any point. So he kind of takes over at that point where the insurance waiver goes, no, Tom, or I legitimately say, oh, I'm a little bit scared. Over to you, Jakey. And he's like, thanks, Tom. And off he goes. But he's right on the shoulder, and he will deal with anything with mainly Eddie Brock, right? So whether it's depending on what the skill set is, we might have a motorbike Eddie because that's a specific skill set. Like we might have to have somebody parachute, or we might have where there's a skill set. So, but Jakey's like the go-to, looks like me. Option for anything that's really dangerous, so I can sort of stay safe. Really. And Adam was came in, and when we did some early sort of movement tests, we did some using motion capture just to get a sense of how Venom was going to move, and the whole weight of him wanted to feel like, as they did in the first movie, it's sort of like a quarterback, really heavy set, as opposed to Carnage, who was more fluid and used tendrils in different ways and so on and so forth. But so we had Adam on set, being a sort of physical version, but he also had to wear a very, very heavy Venom head because Venom's 7'9", and so he had to move, and we could then frame up on the photorealistic Venom head as well. So he really got into it. Actually, he was fantastic, and so he would do. It wasn't so much stunts; it was more to do with kind of framing and physicality and timing and all of that kind of stuff. But he was, he really got into the light as well.
For the right lighting reference as well. It bounces off.
Oh
all of that integration. Yeah, thanks.
That's cool. Now, Tom, I have a question for you because you've gotten us. Tom, you've gotten us very riled up online a couple of times with a couple of post and delete stuff on Instagram. I don't know if you can see this right now, but as the saying goes, we caught you in 4K. I want to know what these kind of Venom and Spider-Man posts.
You see what that is? That is like little Spidey legs hanging outside the mouth of Venom, doesn't it? That's wish fulfillment.
Wish fulfillment. So listen, I do want to ask, has that conversation gone anywhere? Because also we have the Daily Bugle logo that Andy chose to incorporate here from the original Raimi trilogy. I'd love to hear if any of that Spider-Man stuff has gotten into your minds at all.
Of course it's in our minds all the time. Look at the photo. There's little Spidey legs hanging out of the teeth of Venom. It's really specific. You know what I mean? It's like a Khabib call out.
Yeah, we wanted to little teasy things, but but this one was always going to kind of not venture too much into that territory because there was so much to unpack in this story, wasn't there? In terms of,
I think you can't do a Venom story without knowing Spider-Man's in the mix. Yeah. He's somewhere, but we all know that there's a big constellation of events, that need to need to move and operate around in as grown-ups. We have to go, okay, we wait, we wait for those planes to land, and and when they land, we'll see if we can get on one. But until then, we focus on the task in hand, which is Venom 2. But it's always in the back of our minds, when do I get to eat the Spider-Man?
One day, maybe. And Andy, my last thing for you.
I love Tom. You know what I mean?
my last thing for you is that Carnage is a very visceral and violent character in comics oftentimes. Did you ever consider getting a bit more explicit or push to make it R-rated at any point?
100% we considered it with all of these symbiotes. You consider it. You read the comic books, and it is extreme. But that's not what we were here to do. We came here to make a movie which and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, there's a law, and a rule into creating a movie that's accessible to a lot of people, as well as that caters for everybody, including the hardcore fans. So I hope the hardcore fans at least take home, they look at Carnage and go, yeah, I recognize Carnage from the comic books. I'm happy with that. And we didn't bite everybody's head off, but we did stick a tongue down someone's throat, like pretty, and managed to come in at a level of rating, which is, reputable, so that the grandma can go and watch it too.
You leave things to, sometimes leaving things to the imagination is as powerful too. We pushed it as far as we could possibly go, but with some room to go, in people's heads. That character is pretty scary, and the kind of the truth of where that character emanates from, and Cletus Cassidy as a character that is amplified through Carnage is does a lot of the work. So I think we certainly fulfill a lot of the essence of Carnage.
100%.